work alone will not make you rich. This was a video I was watching from Alex Hormozy the other day. Very interesting video. And, you know, I think about most subjects, there's two sides to most subjects. Oh, don't work hard, work smarter. And so then you'll see people on Instagram, I'm working smarter, congratulations. And I remember Gary Vaynerchuk looked at some guy and he's like, great, mother bleeper, you work harder, I'm going to work hard and smarter. Now what are you going to do? So there's this idea, and one statement isn't necessarily completely right. But if you're not working smarter and harder, that's a problem. And I've really come to the realization that if you aren't doing high leverage activities, then that's where you're going to have slow growth in your business. So let's break this down. So here's the main points. Hard work is vital, but does the 30-year hardworking janitor or landscaper, reminds me of a guy who used to do landscaping at BYU for a minute there.
Yeah.
But so you work at that job really hard, and you're a hard worker, and you're a good person, and you got values and principles, and that's awesome, but you're not going to get ahead financially. You can work as hard as you want. They might have very small increases, and unless you're able to save a lot of money and invest it in a business or real estate to actually provide financial independence, that person is never going to be wealthy, never going to have freedom. They're not going to be able to travel. They're not going to be able to provide the life they want to for their family. A lot of you listening or watching, like maybe you've been in that boat. I've been in that boat, and that's what drove me to take action. But so hard work alone is not going to get us there. And according to Alex, he's saying, hey, yeah, it's important, but work has little to do with the highest levels of the game. So, for example, he'll say, well, hey, Warren Buffett, I mean, he makes 2 decisions a year. He reads for 5 or 6 hours a day. He goes to McDonald's. He drinks his Coke because he's invested in both. I don't know how he's still living into his 90s. That's what he does. And but he's not working 100 hours a week, right? He makes a couple of investment decisions. And if he makes 2 good decisions a year, he's really happy. And his growth has just been exponential. So an example of somebody who is doing things at a higher level because he's got leverage. And he doesn't have a huge organization, but they manage so much money, that's the leverage. So managing something bigger. Alex says the same hours in the day, you need leverage. So when you think of, working hard versus working smarter, leverage, like what comes to mind of examples of that, or when, hey, I worked hard, but I sort of hit a ceiling. There's only, 24 hours in a day, 168 hours in a week. I can only do so much. But when I added this piece of leverage, now I could do more. What do you think are some of those examples of leverage that made a real difference in your life and business?
Yeah, I mean, when you were talking about this, Leo, I immediately just start thinking of our friend Tyler, who had a father-in-law who came here from, I believe, was it Ecuador? I can't remember. I think Ecuador,
South America.
And he was doing construction, and always on a job, nonstop, work, and just barely scrapes by, like just barely paying the bills. Tyler comes in and says, you know what? What are you doing? You have all this expertise. You have all these clients. What do you say we hire 10 people, take on more jobs? Meaning you don't have to work as much. You can use your expertise and go over and help at different projects, little bits at a time. And they now are doing well over I think they did almost $2 million in revenue last year, as opposed to $200,000 on this guy just grinding and coming home exhausted every single day. And it's just going out and leveraging, having employees, right? Learning the business side of how this works. We had someone commenting on a YouTube video of ours, I think it was our last show, saying, yeah, I'm working 10 to 13 hours a day. Yeah. I'm not getting by. I'm excited to have a conversation with this individual and say, well, how many jobs are you turning away because you're the only person working on this job versus going out and hiring and getting employees? And we've experienced that. Sometimes it's scary to hire, but if you do it the right way, that's the only way you're going to actually grow.
So the number one way that you can leverage to begin as a small business owner or entrepreneur is you have to convert from being a solopreneur into an actual entrepreneur. If you're a solopreneur, you're really good at doing the technical thing that you're really good at. So when we first started, you were at these events across the country, bringing in clients, doing the initial sales work. I was back in my home office doing the actual funding work, doing the fulfillment. So you were the sales, I was the fulfillment. and the two of us could bust our butt and work 60, 70 hours a week, and we might both cap out our incomes at $150,000, $200,000 a year because there's only two of us. There's only 168 hours a week. But if you can take that specialized knowledge and now create a team, employees, and have them do those jobs and break that process down, and they only do one part of the process and another does another part of the process. It reminds me of Henry Ford when he came up with the assembly line. He had, instead of one person trying to do 5 or 10 things, he had one person doing one thing, and he was able to get out so many more cars and make massive, where he might make, a 10% profit on each car. Now he had thousands of cars being made instead of 100 cars a month. And that changed everything. So it's the same thing. Whatever it is you do in your business, maybe you're an accountant, maybe you're a marketer, maybe you're a chef, whatever it is, and you can do one thing really good, but if you can teach others to do that thing and then manage and grow that business, and now most people are doing it, leveraging people is a great way to grow your business. And now instead of you working in the business always, you can work on the business. And so if you don't have leverage of building an organization, a team, then you go on vacation, you stop making money, right? You get sick, you stop making money. You don't work 80 hours a week, you lose a few clients. But when you have a team and a business organization, that's one way to leverage. Let's look at some other ones. So Alex talks about volume of activity versus leverage of activity. So again, if it's just you and I doing the work, we hit a ceiling. But if we have 25 people doing the work, now we can help a lot more people. We can create a much more profitable business. So that's the next thing. And so basically what he asks is, what are the highest leverage activities you can do in your business? And so for us, for example, it's even more higher leverage than just people. For example, we can do marketing and go out and find one client at a time that needs financing. Maybe you're a business coach. You can do marketing and bring one person in at a time who can become a client. But what if you could find a strategic partner who already has 100 of your clients coming in every single month to their business, and if you can provide a benefit to that person, they would send all your business every single month. And so that's, for us, it's like, well, what if we find that accountant who already has 1,000 of our potential clients who need financing, he or she can send those in. And so instead of looking for one person who needs funding, what if I look for 100 accountants who have 1,000 clients each to send in? And so if you can create that type of leverage in your business, and we just had a guy on the podcast, the Seven Figures Club podcast last week. He's had 8 exits, and he talked about that. And he has this book called Viral Something, where basically the action you take leads to more clients versus just helping one client.
Yeah, that's a great example what you just used there, Leo. Like when we talk about hard work, we could get a list of business owners. We could get in the yellow pages and just start cold calling and grind and work so hard. And maybe after 2 weeks, we only get maybe 5 clients, or we go out and we find, like you said, a referral partner, someone that already has our clients and has our leads. Yes, now we're still going to work extremely hard, but we're going to do that significantly more effectively and efficiently. And I think a lot of that is determining what works for you beforehand, finding your limitations, finding your boundaries before you decide to really engage in that hard work, right? It's like if I decided at this point in my life, I want to be a defensive lineman in the NFL, I can work as hard as I want, and that is never, ever, ever going to happen. So you need to figure out what your realistic limitations are and then determine to work hard very, very effectively.
And I'm glad you brought up the football example. It's so appropriate on Super Bowl week. But this is one of the things he talks about. You don't go and hire 10 running backs. In a football team, you have to build out a team. And the very best entrepreneurs are not the quarterback. They're not the star of the team. And that's the problem that a lot of entrepreneurs, I think I've had that problem, where you're like, oh, no one can do this better than me. I have to do this important job. And instead of teaching and training and bringing in great people, and if you bring in the right people, they'll actually be better than you, and that's what you want. You want smarter, better, more capable people that you can bring in and plug into these great opportunities, and they can do that, and you manage it. So the best entrepreneurs are actually coaches. They're not the quarterback. They're not the running back. They're not the center. They're in the back. They're bringing the right people in, putting them in the right positions, making sure that we're bringing in deals, that we're growing the business, that we're living our values and principles as an organization. And that's who's growing the business, is the really good coach, the Bill Belichick of the world, who can put all the pieces in the right spot. He's not actually executing. He's not on the phone with the client. He's not doing all the work, but he's putting people in the right spot, and he's training them and giving them the tools. And the other thing they have is systems and processes.
Yeah.
And so you have been our COO in implementing systems and processes. If you're doing all the phone calls, all the texts, all the emails, and you don't have automation, like, what are some examples of automation that you can leverage in your business with systems and processes that people don't really understand?
I mean, I think the most simple one that a lot of companies don't have out there, which shocks me, is following up on contracts, right? You take all of this time, energy, effort, not just generating the lead, not just getting the lead on the calendar, but then pitching that lead, getting to the point where that lead wants to move forward, and you send them a contract. Contract gets buried in the email. The client forgets about it forever, and that happens with a lot of industries. But having a text follow-up series that goes out automatically, because the human element, they'll forget. Your sales reps will forget to follow up on contracts. But guess what? A CRM that says the contract was sent at this exact date and time, if it is unsigned 24 hours from now, send this text. If it remains unsigned 48 hours from now, send this text. 72 hours, send this text. Meanwhile, you're also sending emails. Like, little follow-ups on the contracts, I think, are the quickest way that you can boost your amount of signed deals, boost your revenue, because you're losing a lot of people that just simply don't see the email, or they forget about it, it gets lost, and your reps will not follow up. They may be really good at follow-up, but they're not going to be 100% accurate, whereas a CRM, a phone system with even something as simple as Zapier to create a follow-up thread, I mean, that's going to be the quickest way to boost those signed deals.
So you can be like typing all the text, typing up all the emails and their original things every time, or you have an automated version that plugs in the client's name, and it's automatically communicating with them, not once, not twice, but every step and stage of the process. Not only your clients, but your partners, your strategic referral partners who are sending in business. You're keeping them in the flow. Maybe you have a tracking software that they can log into and see how their clients are doing. And that leads me to an affiliate program, right? If you're building an affiliate program, now you've got a number of amazing salespeople out there who are sharing your programs. You're paying them a commission. And one of the biggest mistakes I see is people get started early on and they're super stingy in paying out referral fees and affiliate commissions. And while you want to make sure you're profitable, like, you've got to incentivize people. And if you have a great affiliate program, that is a very powerful way that you can absolutely grow your business and take it to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. That, and the one thing I'd add on top of that, Leo, is the ability to make a payment via text or email.
Oh,
like,
so
it is
important.
2023. If someone has to call you to give you a credit card number to pay your invoice, you're missing out on a lot of money. Make it happen. It's 2023. If you need to schedule a call with us, we'll make it happen for you. There are so many different ways to click a link and pay an invoice. Make it happen.
What about all those people out there? They're like, the only way you can pay me is to send a wire transfer. And you're like, what the hell are you doing? A wire transfer, that's it. I want as many ways to get paid as possible. Venmo, PayPal, credit card, debit card, ACH, wire transfer, Stripe, every single way, QuickBooks, invoices. We've got like 10 different ways that you can make payment to us. You can finance your payment with eFinance. There's so many different ways that you can make payment. And if you don't have easy ways to receive payment, you're losing out on business, period.
Yeah. Anytime someone says, all I take is a wire transfer, red flags start going like crazy. It's like, you scared of a chargeback, or what's
100%.
going, or are you just that outdated that you don't know how to accept a credit card? So.
And there's just risk of doing business. But at the end of the day, when you deliver value to people and you've got the reputation and the online reviews, like, you're not afraid. Very few people are going to charge back. And those that do, you'll prove that you did your job on the business and fulfilled exactly what you promised to the letter of the contract, and you'll win 9 out of 10 of those chargebacks. I remember like our first 5 or 6 chargebacks, I was all scared about them, and we won every single one of them because we did the job.